G'day everyone and welcome back to NS2HD. In this video I'm going to give you a basic Marine Commander tutorial, and I hope that by the end of this video anyone who's watched it will not fear jumping into the command station and having a go at being the Marine Commander. I'm sure that many of you viewing won't have played natural selection before, and therefore Commander mode might seem a little bit scary, but it's not too hard and I'll walk you through it now, and I encourage you all to jump in and have a go. So, let's say you've just joined the Marine team and you've noticed that there's no one in the command station and you think you'd like to have a go. Well, I really encourage you to jump in and see what it's like. And it's really easy. All you have to do is run up onto the red bordered platform and press E. And lo and behold, the command station will close around you and you'll enter this commander view, which is mostly like every other RTS. There's a mini-map in the bottom left, there is context selection in the bottom right, and information in the middle, and resources in the top right. And these workers that I'm moving around now, they are your worker units. They are called Max, and they operate much like the worker units in any other RTS. And these two are your command station, your infantry portal, and over here on the right, the resource node with an extractor on the top, which gives you resources. So, the first thing you need to do when you jump into the command station is build an armory. An armory allows your Marines to heal themselves and get ammo, and it's incredibly important to have one on the map straight away. So in the lower right, pressing build and then pressing armory, which is the fourth one along the build menu, will bring up the armory, which you can place on the map wherever you like. So place it in a position that's sort of central in the base. It doesn't need to be hidden away yet. In future you'll probably get awesome at strategic armory placements, but just place it where everyone can get to it so everyone can get some health and ammo early in the game, because in the early game skulks will be coming in, Marines will be trying to beat them off, so it's very important that your men can heal and replenish their ammo. And the second thing is jump onto the command station and press comm upgrades and then research sentries. Now because I'm in cheat modes, this will research very quickly. It does take a little bit of time in game, and the reason I say do this second is because if you're a beginner commander, having a few sentry guns in your base is invaluable, because it stops the alien team just waltzing in and chomping away on your base when your Marines are out on missions. So clicking on sentry gun in the build menu will allow you to place sentry guns like so around the map. So I'm going to go ahead and place one on the left and on the right of my armory, and for defense. Now this sentry gun is facing in the correct direction when it was deployed. You can see it's facing to the right, and aliens are likely to come up this ramp and then along this corridor into the base. Especially in the early game, skulks are likely to run in and see if they can chomp a few buildings. So this sentry gun is doing a good job. It's already facing the right direction. This other sentry gun, however, is facing in the wrong direction. It's facing the default direction, and skulks are likely to come in through these two vectors, these corridors here. So to turn it around, select the sentry gun and go to the bottom right hand contextual menu again and press set target direction. Set target direction allows you to click in the general direction that you want a sentry gun to face. So I'm going to go ahead and click in this area here towards the two corridors that skulks and aliens are likely to come from. And once you do so, it will begin slowly rotating. Now, once you start the game, don't panic too much about building extractors. Extractors are the second item in the build menu, and you don't need too many at the start. So don't overreach and send up Max everywhere looking for extractors. It's more important to secure your base, build an armory, build sentry guns first. But once, especially on this map, Rockdown, where the extractor is the next resource node is very close, it's okay to get out there pretty early and build an extractor. So that's what I'm going to do now. On this resource node, I'm going to build an extractor. And to do that, I select my Mac and I select Extractor in the bottom right contextual menu, and it'll cost 15 carbon, which is the green circle at the bottom right. I've got 112 carbon at the moment, and once I build this resource extractor, it will drop to 97. So now you've got two resource extractors, you've got an armory, you've got two sentry guns. Now note that because cheats are on, my buildings are building very quickly and my research is researching very fast. Now once you've got your two extractors, especially if you've got a lot of Marines on your team, it's a very good idea to build a second infantry portal, because the more infantry portals you have, the more Marines can spawn at once. And if you've got 3 dead Marines, you don't want them all waiting in line behind one infantry portal. So selecting infantry portal from the build menu will allow you to build an infantry portal in close proximity to the command station. And that will double the rate at which you can get Marines into the game. Now it's also a good idea to protect your new extractors. So building a sentry gun near an extractor is a good idea. And when you place it, don't just place it in front of the extractor, because skulks are likely to see it when they run in, and they'll be able to get behind it and chomp on it. It's a good sneaky idea to put the extractor back in the back of the room and then make it face the rest of the room. That way it's harder for a skulk to get in this, say, this corridor and get behind it. And in fact, they might not even see it and might be killed by it before they know it's there. So build your sentry gun, and again, use set target direction to point it in the direction that you want it to attack. And I want it to generally cover this extractor, so I'm going to rotate it around so it covers the extractor. Often with sentry guns, you'll find that placement is better than spam, because simply spamming sentry guns will likely result in a hole that skulks can get through to exploit the 90-degree arc of fire that they have. So rather than spam, just think about it a bit. Now you've got your main base, and we've also got an expansion with an extractor in it. So the base is starting to flesh out. And if you've done this in a game, no one's going to call you a newbie commander. That is a perfectly acceptable early build to have. But this area over here is what you really need. This has a second tech point, a power node, and a resource node in it. And this is what you'd call a natural expansion in StarCraft 2. I won't labour the StarCraft 2 analogy too much, because it is generally an RTS analogy that I'm drawing here. You need a natural expansion. Also, don't forget, researching shotguns is a great way to keep your Marines happy early on in the game, because once you've researched it at the armory, by clicking on it and then using the lower right contextual menu, your Marines will be able to buy shotguns from the armory, and they'll know that you're there and you're doing stuff. You can also research upgrades for them, Weapons 1 and Weapons 2. And also note that because you can research more than 2 things at the armory at one time, it's maybe a good idea to have a second armory, especially at this stage when you've got 2 extractors down and you're planning on doing some upgrades. Drop a second armory so that you can research, say, shotguns and Weapons 1 at the same time. And that's a great strategy to have early in the game, because your Marines will have shotguns, but they'll also have a weapons boost, so it'll really help them take down those skulks quickly. And upgrades cost 15 at the start, 25 for second level, and 35 for third level. So first level is within reach in the early game, and it's acceptable for you to just jump in there and research a couple of upgrades early on. And it really will help your Marines in the early game as they go out and try to secure areas on the map. And that will definitely help if you're going to push for a natural expansion like the one I showed you before. Because skulks will be trying to secure these as well, because they want expansions to put new hives in. Now, once you've decided you're going to grab a tech point and your Marines have secured it and it's all ready for builders, send a builder in and begin to secure it. Now, I'm going to do this with 2 builders because there's quite a few structures we need to put up to secure the new expansion. So I've grabbed these 2 mechs and I've used the right-click move command to move them in. And what I'm going to do is go to the build menu and then say build sentry gun. So once the area is secure with your Marines, slap down a quick sentry gun, because that will keep skulks off you while you build. And then you can build context menu a new command station. This is the same kind of structure that you're sitting in right now, but it's a second one. And don't forget to move your sentry guns, because they will default to the 90-degree facing angle, which is pretty useless for you if the skulks are going to come in from other directions like these. So at this point, you'll also want to grab this extra extractor, because then you'll have 3 extractors, which will increase your resources for getting new upgrades and new tech, which your second command station allows. Once you have a second command station, a lot of upgrades open up. That second tech level is really essential, and that's why on a lot of NS2 maps, the natural expansion is really, really close to your initial deployment base, because you need that second tech level to really get up and get at a lot of stuff. And here I'm placing a second sentry gun now near this power node just to cover it a little bit, because power nodes are necessary to power all your buildings, and if the aliens sneak in there and ninja the power node, your expansion will be in a lot of trouble. All the sentries go down. Also, place an armory in your new expansion. That'll help Marines that are trying to defend it, because to get health and ammo, they won't have to go all the way back. And notice I'm not going into ammo packs and health packs here. I'm trying to give you a strategy that won't require you to be spamming ammo and med packs. Now, if you go back to your command station and the bottom right contextual menu, you'll notice that upgrade to command facility has opened up. And that upgrades your command station to a command facility and opens up a whole new world of upgrades. For example, if I go down to my armory, now advanced armory is available, and I'm going to research that because it opens up huge amounts of tech that you need. New weapons, new armor, new weapon upgrades. And you'll notice that the top of the armory has changed as it is now an advanced armory, allowing new things. And the first thing is grenade launch, which costs 15 carbon, and that's great. Your Marine's going to be really happy with you if you give them access to grenade launchers. They're going to be running around blowing stuff up really fast. Also note the weapons module, which is 20 carbon. The weapons module gives you access to flamethrowers, which you can see here. I've researched that. And the top of the armory changes again, and now I have access to flamethrower research, which is another 20 carbon. So you can see why you need those 3 extractors. If you were building all over the map and hadn't got those 3 extractors, you wouldn't have the resources to give your Marines the weapons. Now, in NS2, you do not need to give the weapons. Marines will buy them themselves, and I'll demonstrate that in a moment. There is another building that you can build, which is a little bit advanced. It isn't necessary really early on in the game. It's a good idea to place, which is the observatory. Now, before I place that observatory, I'm just going to place another infantry portal in this expansion. That way, if I lose the main base, my Marines will still be able to spawn at my natural expansion. And that's always good, because if your Marines can't spawn and you lose your main base, you're in a lot of trouble. But yes, back to the observatory. This is an advanced building that you can build. Don't worry about getting it too early if you're just starting out. Don't stress about it. It's like extractors. You don't really need it early on. It's not like an armory. It's not absolutely essential. But if you go to the bottom right build menu, and then on the second row, second along, you'll find observatory. It's quite cheap at 10 carbon. And this is really, it's a scanner station, and it gives access to a bit of advanced technology. So I'm going to place it up here, well out of the way of any skulks that might want to come and chomp on it, because it does not have a lot of health. And now I'll take a moment to look at some of the upgrades. I won't go through all the upgrades it offers, because this video is already getting quite long, and there are 2 advanced upgrades it offers. Notice that the robotics facility Mac factory isn't available yet. That'll be available in future. Now, the one you really need to worry about is scan. You've also got distress beacon and transponder technology. I'll run through them in future videos. For now, I'm just going to look at scan. Scan allows you to see in areas where you don't have sight. So I've got sight down in my main base, but I don't have sight up here at the alien main base. So I'm going to use scan, which costs 20 carbon, to have a ping in there and see what's going on. So you can see there, I can see the eggs, the harvester, the hive, and any other buildings that they might have built in there. And of course, my mini-map is lit up with the red that shows the hive as well. So now you've got a pretty decent base going on. You've got an expansion up here where I'm going to place a second observatory in case my original one goes down. And you've got an expansion with an extractor in it. And you've got you've got your main base with all your main tech in it. Don't forget, you should also get a second advanced armory if you've got the spare cash, in case your original one goes down. Now, just to recap, don't stress too much about power nodes and extractors. Power nodes, if you are careful with defending them, won't go down too often. If they do go down, you can right-click them with a Mac to repair them. And don't stress too much about placing lots of extractors early on, because you do start with a lot of res, and if you go out willy-nilly building extractors, it's likely they'll be torn down. So here's the base from first-person perspective. It's looking pretty sweet, and if I go to the armory, you'll notice I can now get access to all these weapons like a shotgun. That's it from me for now, guys. I hope you found this video informative. If you've got any questions, please ask them in the comments or send a PM, and I will get back to you in future videos or with replies. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone.